Morning mayhem, it's a wild ride. Sports news and the daily updates, we're on your side. Special guests and interviews galore. We're taking over Woodland Regional, we're knocking down the door. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram too. We're streaming on Spotify. We're reaching out to you. Join the Morning Mayhem crew. Let's have a blast. Get ready for the show. It's gonna be a blast. Oh, yeah. Morning Mayhem. It's a wild ride. Sports news and the daily updates. We're on your side. Special guests and interviews galore. We're taking over Woodland Regional. We're knocking down the door. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram too. We're streaming on Spotify. We're reaching out to you. Join the Morning Mayhem crew. Let's have a blast. Get ready for the show. It's gonna be a blast. Ooh, yeah. Oh yeah. It's a wild ride. Sports news and the daily updates. We're on your side. Special guests and interviews galore. We're taking over Woodland Regional. We're knocking down the door.
Knocking down the door.
They were around as well. And then finally, Euro Disney opened in 1992. Famous birthdays, you have Robin Wright, if you remember her from
House
Princess
of Cards,
Bride.
Princess Bride.
House of Cards. Princess Bride is where I was going. And today's national days is National Zoo Lovers Day, dedicated to zoos and the importance of wildlife conservation. Also, you have the National Empanada Day, which is a delicious treat, food just that's wrapped up into a tasty pastry. And it is also National Draw a Picture of a Bird Day, where at one point a girl was asked to draw a picture of a bird to help her World War II veteran grandfather, or uncle, excuse me. And he laughed and he loved it. And then he shared it with his fellow soldiers, and they started drawing pictures of birds. Tragically, she died a few years later, and they dedicated that day to National Draw a Bird Day.
Well, I know what I'm drawing.
Yeah.
A hawk.
Oh, man, why did I see that
Slow.
coming? I did not see that coming.
You're slow this morning.
I
Wow.
am.
Drink more coffee.
It's all with
thinking
the
of the
jingle and the Eclipse is coming. I'm off. Over the sports desk with Mama Manning.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Lots to report. On Friday, our baseball team slammed Ansonia 10-0.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love it.
Now, today, on Saturday, they beat Massac 4-0. Massac's a tough team.
That's it. Yep. Oh, yeah.
So that
win,
was
good win.
two back-to-back wins there. Today they face Wilby away at 3:45. Softball is home against Wilby 3:45. Girls tennis is against Wilby home at 3:30. Boys tennis against Wilby is away. Late start 5:15.
Well, that's so they can avoid the Eclipse.
Coach is looking at me. I don't know.
Yeah, check that. I know we have a double header. Actually,
Oh.
so maybe that's the second.
Maybe that was
Hopefully
reported.
that's the second game, because it's the first one. It's going to be dark just because of night. Yeah.
Yes. But how do you serve into the Eclipse? I don't know.
I don't know, but maybe our guest this morning can tell us
I
about
think we're
that.
going to ask them that. And of course, over the weekend.
Over the weekend.
Big news, NCAA. UConn women lost to Iowa. They slipped past us 69-71. It was close.
Well, let's talk about that last 3.9 seconds.
What did you think? Was that a foul?
Okay, so, all right, yes, it was a foul, but it shouldn't have been called. That's how I feel. I believe
Because-
technically it was a call that could happen, but shouldn't have. because let him finish. The girl got around the screen. I think it was Marshall going around the
Yep,
screen.
yep.
And made it around the screen. They hadn't been calling that the entire
They
game.
had not.
Man,
They-
that sounds like a coach. Doesn't that not sound?
They
like a
took
coach?
that
Yes.
time to call it, and we're a little bit robbed from letting the teams figure out who was going to finish.
Absolutely.
The players play.
To let the players play and finish it from there.
Because I think Becker's was setting up for a 3.
I think so too. I thought it might come back to Edwards.
Oh,
I thought
for
she was
two.
going to dish
She
back
was
to
free
Edwards.
for the
Yes.
layup.
Yes.
They were going to double team her. That's
Got
why
it.
girls coming around the screen, put 2 on Becker's, throw it back to Edwards.
Got it.
But we'll never know.
We'll never know.
That'll live on in infamy.
But you make it when you're mentioned on SNL.
Yes.
14.2 million viewers
Yeah.
on that game.
Nika Mule
Record.
was a blanket.
That was her last game.
How'd you feel about that call?
Coach, I agree with you 100% there. I feel like, and then you can go back to the game, and they did go back and say, well, why don't you call this moving screen, this moving screen, this moving screen?
Yeah.
And then you call the
Most
moving
important.
screen. That's what it's going to be
Yeah.
called.
Yeah.
The moving
Moving
screen.
screen.
Yeah.
the catch and throw and
Oh my
the
The
goodness.
immaculate reception, the moving screen. There's
Yeah,
going to be a
so-
bunch of different names.
It's disappointing that you don't get one last shot, right? That Paige doesn't get that one last shot,
Yeah.
Or Edwards.
or Edwards.
But I did read
Or-
something interesting, a column that was saying that, but that signifies the coming of women's sports because the nation was talking about it. They said, once you have controversy, you've arrived.
Right. That was Caitlin Clark's goal, not to win so many games, not to win a national title,
Right.
but to bring prominence to the sport. And
Absolutely.
she certainly did that.
The
And she
viewership is
shattered
up.
5 different records,
Yeah.
including most male, female, most points, most assists, most points in a playoff. She just kept going
There
and
was
going.
exciting games.
Right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
then she
But they
had a
did-
bunch of points in the first quarter there. and most points in the
18.
quarter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
18 in one quarter.
And that was it. They stopped,
Yeah.
Iowa stopped playing, but
Yeah. They just
But then
ran
they
out of
fell
steam.
to South Carolina yesterday, 78-59. That was
Yeah,
close
Cardozo
up to
was
the.
just
She was unbelievable.
everywhere.
Up to the third quarter, they pulled ahead.
All right. And tonight,
is there a game tonight?
I don't know.
Do we have a
Uh,
game tonight?
Gee, let
Chance?
me check my
Check your
paperwork
notes.
here.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, South Carolina did take its 3rd title, but you know who they have to get caught up to?
Oh, yeah. There they go.
Gino.
The women's team, who has 11 titles.
I think it's 11, 8, 5, and then 2 threes now.
Yes. Well, tonight in the finals,
Yeah.
after UConn men beat Alabama 86-72 and Purdue edged NC State 63-50, we have the championship game tonight. That's on TBS. And we have a pregame show starting at 6:20, 6:30. But anyway,
Six-ish.
6-ish, yep. And so Purdue and UConn will go at it, and we want the Huskies to win, do we not?
I would say so. yes,
I'm
sir.
good with that. Yeah, I'm good with that a lot.
Good.
And that's the sports with Mama Manning. Over the news desk with Tomlin.
Morning, a couple top stories to start your day. First off, for some random reason, people will be staring up at the sky this afternoon. We have the long anticipated total solar eclipse resting over North America. However, clouds may spoil that for certain parts of the
You know,
country.
the news always has a tinge of negativity, doesn't it?
President Biden will be talking about student debt relief in Wisconsin after primary
Yay.
voting delivers warning signs.
And there you go.
This is President Biden's second attempt. The administration has reviewed the results of the Supreme Court ruling that nullified the earlier one, and they believe that this time they're using the quote unquote normal, longer approach. It should get the job done. Salvage crews have begun removing containers from the ship that collapsed on the Baltimore Key Bridge.
That's good news.
Yep, there you go.
I was just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
It is hazardous waste, though.
Ukraine denies a Russian claim that it launched drone strikes on a major nuclear power plant.
Ugh.
And there you go.
Elon Musk is going to be investigated for fake news and obstruction in Brazil after Supreme Court order.
Hmm.
President Biden urges Egypt, Qatar leaders to press Hamas to come to agreement for Israeli hostages in Gaza. And that's your news.
That's enough.
Welcome to Monday. And that's the news with Tomlin. This morning, our special guest is going to talk to us a little bit about what is going to be happening today with the total eclipse of the sun, the sun. Chris Sutton. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad. So, how familiar are you with eclipses? And let us know what's going on.
I've seen a few lunar eclipses in my day. I haven't really seen, I've never seen a total solar eclipse, and still won't see one today because we're in Connecticut. We'll have about 92% coverage of the sun, which is pretty significant, but not quite total. At any point on the Earth, you can only expect a total solar eclipse about every 375 years.
Wow.
So it's a pretty big deal, and certainly if you are able to, you should get outside and check it out. Make sure you wear the safety glasses because any long-term gazing at the sun can damage the eyes, of course. So wear the safety glasses, but no matter what you're doing, you should be able to try to get outside around 3:30, which will be the height of the eclipse today. It does start about 2:15, and that's when the moon will first start to cover the sun, and it will last till about 4:30. But the height of the eclipse is at about 3:30.
What can we expect with the cloud cover? What is the sky going to look like? What are we going to be able to see?
I think it's mostly sunny today. So even if it is partially cloudy, within that 2-hour window, there should be points where the sun does peek out, and you'll be able to see the eclipse with the glasses on.
All right, I see you brought a model with you.
Yeah, so I know most people can't see this, but if you've ever seen a model of the sun and the earth and the moon, it's wildly off scale. Like this one has the sun is about slightly larger than a softball, and it looks like the earth's about the size of a baseball, and the moon is a little bit smaller than a golf ball. But if the sun were this size, you have to understand that the earth would be the size of a pinhead and the moon would be a smaller pinhead, and they'd be at the way far end of this hallway. So
for this model, that's what you're saying. The actual
if the sun is the size, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So people don't understand the scale of this thing. So for this pinhead to be in line, for these three things to be in line, you can see that on that scale at the length of this hallway, it would be a very rare thing. And the other point is that the shadow of the moon is only a very small thing on the Earth. It's only about the width of Connecticut. So when a total solar eclipse does happen, it's very rare that you'd happen to be in the totality part of it.
Wow. So that's why people are driving to cities and camping out on the path of where it's going to go.
Yeah, you've probably seen maps of the path, and it's going to go north of us, northern Vermont and Maine.
What's some of the best ways to view it? Is it just the glasses itself, or are there things they use to?
You can take a cereal box and make it into a viewer by having a closed cereal box and at the far end you would have a hole and also another hole which you cover with tinfoil and put a pinprick in it, and then you can see the projection of the sun at the far end of the cereal box. But in my experience, you get a better view with the glasses than you do with that situation.
Now, we know we were just talking about you having a double header with your tennis team today. Do you have any concerns, or because when they go to serve, aren't they going to be looking up a little bit, or do they have something in place for sports this afternoon?
So looking up during an eclipse is no worse than looking up at the sun at a normal time. So there's that. And secondly, I know people are worried about, it's going to get so dark. There's 92% coverage of the sun. But our eyes adjust, and it's not going to seem like that dark, I don't think, because it'll be like when the sun goes down and starts to get dark. I think it'll feel like that at the high point. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think lighting should be too much of a problem. But I will expect there to be a break in play during the height of the eclipse so everybody can take a look at it.
All right. Well, if you plan on being around in the next 375 years, then maybe today isn't that important to you. But if you're not going to be around in 375 days or years, you might want to get outside and watch the total eclipse of the sun. Chris, thanks for coming on and give us a little more information about the solar eclipse today. And on behalf of the show, she's Mama Manning. He's Tomlin. I'm Amato. Good morning, Woodland.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Morning Mayhem podcast. Morning Mayhem is broadcast live from Woodland Regional High School in Beacon Falls, Connecticut, each and every school day. Follow us on Spotify, Anchor FM, or wherever you find your latest podcasts. And for more information on the show, upcoming guests, and past episodes, visit our show website, morningmayhem.show.